What's going on, guys? Welcome to another wonderful session with Phrankleen. If this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. Please don't forget to smash the like button. Also give consideration to smashing the subscribe button, select the bell button, select the all option so that you're notified when I have a pre-recorded content like this or when I'm live streaming, okay? So welcome to Storytime. Storytime is basically a segment that I call Say It Like It Is. It's part of that segment that I've been doing running for like a couple of years now, where we talk about stories that affect us within the Black community. The premise of this is so that we can hopefully learn one or two things and hopefully be able to advance ourselves, as a unit of people within the Black community, emancipate ourselves and move forward towards our desired goals as Black folks. It's as simple as that. So if you have any trending topics that you would like me to react to or talk about, please send them to my email, foodchannel1960@gmail.com. If you're watching these on YouTube, my email address will be in the description part of this video. So you can bang me an email or you can follow me on Instagram. Just push me a DM at Phrankleen, exactly as it's spelled on my YouTube channel here, all right? Follow me on Instagram and then send me a DM if there are interesting topics that you'd like me to react to or run a bit of a commentary on and stuff. If they resonate well with me, hopefully, or any stories that you would like people to learn from that we can all, hopefully pick one or two things from, feel free to send it to me, okay? I'm very good at concealing identities, and if I have to move characters around, if you don't want any unwanted attention pointing at you, in case if it's affecting you directly, I can assure you that, your privacy will be fully respected. So that's that. So before we crack on, I offer a service. I've been doing so since the April of this year, called IFA Divination. I'm a proud IFA practitioner and IFA initiate, African spirituality, and I offer IFA Divination, Idafa, in Yoruba. So basically, this helps you to look into any part of your life, whatever questions you want to ask Eledumare, you want Ifa to look into. It could be about your personal life, job, even your children, Akosejaye, which is a predestination check. What were you called to do in this life, in the dispensation? Who are you? Are you trying to look into your essence? Do you have any pressing matters in your life that you need Ifa to help you look into? Do you facing pressure at your workplace, within the confines of your relationship? Speaking of relationship compatibility checks, Ifa can do that. So you don't get, make mistake by amalgamating your emotions with the wrong person. Most people are living with totally wrong entities, and they might just have multiple children. And these things will affect you, your fulfillment, your energy, and the broader spectrum across your personal life. You may not reach your goals. Things may go the other way for you when you're with the wrong energy, So whatever it is that you want Ifa to look into for you, you can get in touch with me, foodchannel1960@gmail.com. My email address is in the description part of the video, like I said. And if Ifa recommends appeasement, otherwise known as Etutu in Yoruba, we'll let you know what to do. If it's a set of instructions, we'll let you know. If it's somebody that needs to be initiated to any of the Orishas, or even have Ifa be an Ifa initiate, depending on the outcome of your divination, you know what I mean? So you'll be alerted. You might have, bloodline, family-related problem that's putting a roadblock in your life. Ifa will unpack it. No bias, no restrictions, no limitations. So bang me an email, get in touch with me. 2023 is actually around the corner. I also urge people to look into divination for the new year. So I already have a few people in the queue for that. Ask Eledumare, connect with your Ori, your essence, to know what 2023, the new year, the forthcoming new year, what's ahead of you. What do you need to be mindful of? What do you need to adjust, recalibrate for you to get the best out of the brand new year? Do you have any growing ideas on your mind that you'd like to look into, business ideas or ventures? Should you go in that direction? Should you put money in those things? Ifa would guide you accordingly. Ifa Towasono. So that's that. Forgive me for, taking a bit of time. So if you're interested, bang me an email and we'll take it from there. So this story very quickly, without further ado. Now, One more thing, please don't forget to smash the the subscribe button. Please do that for me. I would appreciate that so that you are notified, when I'm on my live streams and all of that stuff. Right. Now, this woman, her husband traveled abroad, and he's been abroad for 7 years, up to 7 years. He left, they were married in Nigeria and stuff. They had two very young kids at the time. The children are a lot older now. And the conversation came up about going abroad, but I think due to financial constraints or whatever, he decided to travel abroad, right? And go to the United States first, gained access into America, via unscrupulous means, if you understand what I mean. So left a wife and two children. The agreement was, oh, let me go first and go and find my feet, and then hopefully sort myself out, come and get you and whatnot. So but as he landed in the States, the reality of things was totally different from what he thought the husband expected. So anyway, he was trapped in the shadow of the system, struggle after struggle, multiple jobs, working endlessly, had accommodation problem for so long. But anyway, in that time, he was, whatever he could get his hands on, he was remitting money to support the wife and the children. So the wife at some point had to move in with the in-laws, her mother and father-in-law and stuff, and was there with the kids and stuff. Over time, there's a lot of disagreement, frictions, between the wife and, mother-in-law. I suppose it came out of perhaps she felt like she was being subjected to these mandatory duties of being a servant because she's a wife to their son, and everybody's just monitoring every movement from this woman and stuff. Anyways, so the long and short of the story is, over time, it became very clear that the gentleman wasn't coming on anytime soon. So his siblings had been feeding all sorts of stories around infidelity regarding this woman, to her husband in the States, that, basically, she's got, she's basically, there's somebody piping her down. She's seen another man. So she was blacklisted as, labeled as a filthy woman. You can imagine in our society. I'm a Nigerian by roots, if you're watching me for the very first time. But unfortunately, I'm the type of dude, I think outside the box. I really don't align with the so-called traditional ways of looking at things. And because whilst the African culture is brilliant, beautiful, we have a lot of junk in our trunk when it comes to toxic culture, and we have a lot of toxic culture. In fact, things that we shouldn't even label as culture. But unfortunately, because generation after generation, some of these things have been passed down, forced down the lungs of people. This is how we do it. You don't get to ask questions. You can't challenge the status quo. You must do it as it's done and stuff. So people adopt this toxicity. And I always say on my channel here, you are a product of your environment. If you grow up in a household, this is how your father did things, this is how your mother did certain things, you buy into them, we soak them up, and more than likely you grow up, you foster the same things down the lungs of your children, and it's like a mental conditioning. And then when somebody tries to think outside the box or go against the tide, what they see as a normal way of living or thinking or reasoning, you are seen as an outcast and like a black sheep sort of thing. So long and short was, there's been a lot of really damaging stories from the man's siblings and stuff. They're saying that, oh, she's seen a particular man or multiple men and stuff over time who were piping her down, smashing her sugar walls and smashing her to smithereens. To put it quite simply, there were allegations against this woman who has waited for her husband nearly 8 years now, that she was getting sexual gratification or satisfaction from the genitalia of other males. Now, this left a major crack, between their relationship. So what happened was the man absolutely cut off the monthly remission, the monies he was sending for the wife and children's upkeep And although what I picked from the story is this woman has, her own stream of income in Nigeria. She runs a particular type of business. I can't remember now, So, but he stopped sending money, and then there's the threat of he's no longer interested in her and whatnot, and he's threatening divorce, and he has a full backing of his parents and all these allegations, so they ganged up on this woman. So she's lived with them for many years, but she's moved on to get an apartment for herself and her children. And so that's pretty much where the story is. But there's a reason why I want to talk about this very quickly. We have these toxic culture, and I'm going to talk about this. It's quite prevalent in our society. And I'm talking from a Nigerian point of view, and I'm sure you find similar stories across other African nations, if you're Ghanaian, Cameroonian, and all that. Now, mostly from the point of view of a lot of men, okay? And I think the root cause of this problem is, first of all, a lot of men are raised in Africa to commodify women. That's the core part of these problems. So what do I mean? When you marry your queen, whomsoever she is to you, you don't see that woman as a life partner, as for a lot of men, as somebody to build with. Yeah, you love and cherish and stuff. We get that. But it's like you see the woman as a commodity. I own you. I mean, you understand me? So I've heard similar stories over the years where men would travel abroad, and there's nothing wrong with that. You expect loyalty from your wife, right? You left her alone. So you blame it on the situation. Oh yeah, you're traveling abroad. It's your fault that you travel abroad and you got stuck. Because if you had traveled properly in the first instance, there wouldn't have been a case of you being trapped abroad. You chose to travel unscrupulously. Perhaps you hid behind someone else's identity when that was a thing, or you traveled with the wrong visa, and then you got to the diaspora, location, and then it became totally difficult, and then your visa got expired, and then you got trapped in the shadow of the system. But in our society, because we are fond of applying emotional blackmail, we'll be like, oh yeah, is he not there working, trying to provide for the family? No, you made those choices. So from a logical standpoint, you created the man who traveled. You created that toxic scenario. You're fully responsible for it. So you traveled, then you got trapped because you traveled unscrupulously. Oh yeah, you can look beyond you and all that stuff. So you got trapped, because I believe if you had traveled properly from the start, right, you probably will be able to come home after a while to meet your woman, and at least, even if you've gone for like at least a year or something, for some people it's pretty difficult to even, but they can at least still wait and stuff. You come home as often as possible. We get that. But then you get trapped abroad, and you now expect another human being who's got blood running through their veins to keep it together, to stay loyal to you, and wait for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And this is why some women, in the modern day that we live in, they get really vexed, and people are sort of fight back and talk about patriarchy and all this toxicity that are used to chain women down. I'm a dude, I'm not afraid to say this, because, bro, let's call it a spade, man. You're trapped in the USA for close to 8 years. You want me as a man, a fellow man, to believe that there is no woman in the confines of that state that you live in that USA that you're living in. There's no woman that's currently emptying your balls. There's no woman that's currently milking you. There is no woman's sugar walls that you are constantly gaining access to bust a nut as often as possible. For 8 straight years? For 8 straight years, you've never kissed another woman? Let's call a spade a spade. And you demand, this is what I talk about, commodifying women. So, and we are ready to vilify and to absolutely cut this woman's head off because of this mental conditioning, this toxicity that's deeply rooted. You remember, this is why I try to, take us. Usually, this situation is the man travels unscrupulously with the wrong visa, totally wrong package. Then we call it, that's part of being a man struggling. No, because if you had traveled properly, let's even say, okay, babe, let me go first, right? And you go first, you settle down there, and then after settling, you have the ability, right, to be able to take your documents because you've traveled accordingly, right? And then you're able to come home to see your wife, and maybe if you got children, and maybe then bring your wife, or if he's not even coming yet, you can, please each other sexually and all that stuff. There wouldn't be that crazy break. But there were plenty of stories. There was a time I was in Nigeria very quickly, and I met a woman on a building site. We got talking. I was managing a project for someone. So she's like a couple of plots away from the plot of land where I was standing. So we got talking because she recognized me from YouTube. A gorgeous woman. She has 2 lovely children. And then she was talking to me, and then she said, Oṣù yìí ló máa pé ọdún mẹ́sàn-án tó kọ mí to America. Basically, what that means in English is, she said that month would be 9 years since her husband has been away. Wow. And she's basically, he's sending money to manage the building of the building project. And the man was on the phone yelling at her about, why didn't you count the blocks and all this? He will hang up the phone. And so I said, wait, what? I could hear the frustration in the woman's voice. He said, yeah. He's been in New Jersey, in the United States, and he's never been back to Nigeria since then. She said that the 2 children, so the firstborn was a 3-year-old at the time he traveled. The secondborn was 1+. So you can do your maths. I said, 9 years. She said, yeah. And that's a typical example. And she talked about the pressure from the in-laws, and life has been hell for many years. You expect that woman to keep it together for 9 years. You expect her to suppress her sexual desires? I think, the premise of this story is not just for like a mere gossip. It's these difficult topics. I want us to indulge in critical thinking and logical reasoning. You want to be able to lock another human being down for that long, and you expect them to keep it. I'm not trying to justify infidelity or suggesting that people should go astray, but 9 flipping years, 8 years, 7 years, you want them to just stay celibate and suppress whatever feeling. And yeah, bro, a woman that's sexually starved, there's sexual starvation because it's human nature. If she finds herself in a compromising, situation where somebody pays her really heartwarming complimented, man, before you know, the knickers can go flying. I don't think that woman is a bad woman. I'm not go easy. And I'm talking from a man's point of view. I said it earlier. Can you also beat your chest? Let's be honest, man. Can you beat your chest that in 9 years, like the one I talked about now, of being in the United States, that you've not smashed another woman? That's a lie. 9 years. That's crazy. I'm telling you, man, most people can't. Except maybe there's a health problem or there's a major emotional sort of baggage they're dealing with that make them abstain or something. There must be some crazy, but most every day, come on, bro. And then this person that told me this story said, this woman has been vilified, has been labeled as this and this, and she's waited, she's raised those 2 children alone, and now you're telling her you don't need her no more, she should get lost. I would bet my bottom sterling that this man has another woman in the United States. Oh, we've heard plenty of stories where women have waited in Africa, waited faithfully for years, thinking their husband is coming back to pick them, only to find out that he's created a totally brand new family in the diaspora. Fact. And, you know, it's when they find out, it's heart-shattering, emotionally damaging, but it's the truth. These things happen. So I don't think it's fair. So what's my solution to this on a final note? I think people have to be very, very careful what they wish for. You have to be very, very careful. Because if I were to be in your shoes, and let's say, you know, I'm talking hypothetically now, I was considering, I would make sure that I at least travel properly. Like I travel with the correct travel documents so that it will be absolutely easy for me, one, to find my feet where I'm going. 2, I'll be able to navigate, go to and fro when needed, particularly because of my family, my wife and children. 3, it's also a good foundation for me within a short space of time that I will be able to apply, file for my wife, and bring my wife, hopefully, and kids to come and join me if that were to be the case. But this idea of, I'm abroad, I'm hustling, and then we apply emotional blackmail. I'm giving you money. Even people that live under the same roof every day, there is more to emotional bonding than, I'm paying the mortgage. Oh, I'm paying the rent. We can't use money and material accumulation and materialism as a yardstick when it comes to emotions. It's deeper than that. Anyway, what do you think? Let's keep the conversations, going on below. I'd like to see your comments. Thank you for listening to me. I look forward to your comments in the comment section. What do you think? Let me hear your point of view, man. I think it's a completely bad idea. And it's quite common in our society. Absolutely common. There are plenty of stories. And they've left major cracks. There's a lot of relationships that people are just keeping up appearances. Those relationships are dead. The man is abroad. He's sleeping with another woman. The woman is somewhere in Africa. She's sleeping with another man. But on the outside, they are pretending as a couple, mommy lagbaja, daddy lagbaja, but it's in fact a lie. Well, my name is Phrankleen, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Please like my video. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button. And like I said earlier, if you're interested in IFA Divination, particularly for the new year, or you've got any topics that you want me to look into and stuff, bang me an email, foodchannel1960@gmail.com. Email address is beneath this video in the description area. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the very next one. Peace and love, man. You're real.